before we were supposed to go live. So now we are live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Paula Webb. I'm with the University of South Alabama. I am the Outreach and Communications Librarian, and welcome to the 2020 Art Behind the Game Con. I have with us our first speaker, which is Scott Rutherford. He owns Game and Trade 251 right here in Mobile, Alabama, and he's going to talk about the archetypes of gaming. All right, Scott, it's yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello and welcome. This is Scott here with Game and Trade. You may know me from our YouTube channel and a lot of our Facebook posts and whatnot. I have a deep appreciation for the storytelling and the character development in a lot of the games that we are playing these days. So I'm going to speak on some of the character roles and the different kinds of roles, I suppose, because sometimes the underdog may have greatness thrust upon him, and he perseveres through said struggle to come out the hero. So I really speaks to the idea of the warrior, out questing, dungeon crawling and whatnot for treasure, and the treasure doesn't even always have to be gold. Sometimes it's armor, weapons to better defend yourself against further quests, but sometimes the treasure that you find is your own strength. Sometimes the treasure that you find is self-discovery and values and things of that nature. So I want to show off some artwork that everyone may remember my Samus from last year. Speaks to the Galactic Space Marine. She's out there alone in the cold, dark space, but she finds allies in the Metroids, which at first they, seem like they could be the bad guy. But Metroids is just out there trying to find any energy source. And the Zebes race are all about galactic domination, and she's out there defending the galaxy and allies with the Metroids, and eventually fuses with them. So, big reveal. I didn't completely finish it. I was hoping to have it done, but I have a new piece for this year. Mega Man and Zero. So these are the boys, and it's not quite completely done, but I'm speaking to a higher story there. I kind of have a Tony Stark in mind too. So, spacesuits, robotics, technology, space travel, the celestial. These are all things kind of grander. The grander scheme of things, the direction humanity is supposed to, kind of could be looking toward aerospace, travel, technology. This is the future. And also in gaming, through scenery and storytelling is how humanity moves forward. So, not just myself as an artist. I really vastly appreciate the artwork behind all these games. I identify with a lot of these characters. The heroes of old have always been role models to look up to, and not just myself. Everyone should look up these other artists. Paige Garland, I remember her from last year. Pop Ramen, Zach Todd, Jace Ventures. Go follow Quincy Sketchbook. So anyway, more about the roles of gaming. So a recurring theme in history for gaming, and also storytelling, because I wanted to write this down. Most of the character archetypes are based in classic tales of fantasy and fairy tale, with common and repeating themes throughout their history, handed down from generation to generation. Again, storytelling. Told by poets, bards, and mothers and fathers, handed down to their future generations. So thank you for this insight. Goes out to Ashley at our local game store, whom should be respected and loved for her literary expertise as well as her knowledge of gaming. So, some of the roles in gaming is the warrior. Obviously, this is usually our hero, usually our main character. And sometimes greatness is thrust upon them, sometimes they are burdened with righteous purpose. Um, the princess, often from a royal family. Before I speak on any of the properties that I may mention, because I like to use movies and video games as references, I'm not sponsored or endorsed by any of these companies, so I just want to put that out there. The princess royal family, some people may think of Legend of Zelda and Princess Zelda. And also, in Mario Brothers, there's Princess Peach. The idea here is saving the princess, protecting the kingdom. In Kingdom Hearts, Sora was the underdog. He was just, a dreamer. His world changed one day. A storm hit. His world changed. And if you haven't played all of the Kingdom Hearts series, I don't want to give too much away. But most of you, I'm sure, have, or at least know of it. Mickey, at one point in time, King Mickey, bestowed the Keyblade to Sora. Again, defender of the kingdom, protector of the realm. And, Mario Brothers, Princess Peach gets stolen so often, and Mario is always there to save the day. He has his brother to back him up. That's the idea behind this Mega Man and Zero picture. I got your six. Brothers in arms. Defender of the balance, protector of peace. The warrior code. So and then another role and idea here is the villain, struggling through strife. And the villain doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It could just be your circumstances, your surroundings, fighting back the darkness. And this is just an idea that I came up with. So the villain, sometimes dark, like Darth Vader. Sometimes things are not what they appear. It is important to test a warrior's skill until all weakness falls away. So, Darth Vader obviously is Luke's father. And he's fighting him the whole way, and it's either to assume him, and Luke rebels. Rebellion, it's something that you are born with. It's a penchant to any authority figure is can be seen as a villain whenever you're younger. Your mom tells you to clean your room, and it's like, oh, I just want to play video games. Well, sometimes you have to clean your room. You have to do work first to play video games. But sometimes behind the armor of the villain, you may find the soul of a man whom was once a weak warrior, stumbling around in his environment like a newly born deer finding its footing. We all suffer loss in the pains of this world. It's how you respond to them that make you the hero or the villain. Everyone's choices are different, and sometimes what you think is right could be what others think is wrong. Meeting the other party with discipline and respect is how you know you are facing a worthy opponent. So it's kind of like Link's battle with Dark Link. That's one of my favorite, enemies in video games. It's The Legend of Zelda 2. I love that game. It was really hard for back in the day, but it had some of the earliest RPG elements. Link got some of his first magical spells. Even back then, I always thought of repurposing something and just finding a way. So, if you didn't have any keys to make it through a door, you could use the fairy spell, and you could actually go through a keyhole of a door. Now, having enough magic to get back is a whole nother thing. But it's that was a really hard game. Overworld maps, side scrolling, and at the end, Link's main opponent, because you go through 6 castles to get the gems, to make your way through the essentially further in your journey. And again, every formidable foe makes you stronger. At the end, Link's main enemy, final boss, whatever you want to call it, is Shadow Link. And he faces essentially the reflection of himself. All of his insecurities, all of his weaknesses. Well, it's every attack that you put out there is mirrored toward you, and you must learn to defend and essentially jabbing at you for all your weaknesses and insecurities. Um, that was a really good one, and it's a really tough battle. So Link's battle with himself, Dark Link, is how he finds the Triforce of Courage. Then and only then does the wizard bestow upon him the pieces he needs to carry out his journey, the Triforce of Courage. And again, one of the warrior's main things that he needs to have his strength, endurance, would be courage, righteous purpose, knowing with your, that your moral code points north, and that you are doing the best you can for everyone involved. Something along the idea of the greater good. The lone wolf seeks inner peace, usually outside of everything, more concerned with character development and exploration. Let's go back to the idea of the princess. So, in Zelda 2, you start the game, Princess Zelda is asleep in the castle. She's under a spell. And that also is something very important to the warrior, is like, Link has heart containers. Even Luke showed up and rescued Princess Leia. And a sense of purpose, love and fulfillment, that gives you a sense of purpose, that gives you direction, and ones that you care for and love will always be what you essentially quest for their approval, but also for the food and sustenance to feed the family. Again, going back to the idea of defending the kingdom. Even Sora and Kairi had the star fruits, so it's good stuff. But while you're out there questing, okay, sticking with the princess idea. Sorry, okay. The princess isn't always necessarily a weak figure either. Even Princess Zelda, she has the royal family, the Sheikah family, and she has a alternate guise. She dons the mask and becomes a ninja, and she is strong in her own right. And so the princess and the warrior together face down the calamity that is the chaos swirling in the world. Even Princess Leia, she donned the bounty hunter gear to save her man. You know what I mean? So and I really think that she's awesome. So the warrior, the princess. Princess isn't always a damsel in distress. In Kingdom Hearts, it was the 7 princesses together, their love together, that the power of their hearts that would save the world. Final Fantasy VII, Aerith, tragic what happened to Aerith, but her spirit, her Gaia spirit, healed the earth in time of need. So this idea of love is a great and powerful thing, and can heal all things through questing and storytelling and drama and tragedy and comedy. But okay, so The lone wolf seeks inner peace, usually outside of everything, concerned with character development and exploration. The idea I'm going with here is, some people talk about violence in video games, and there are the, first-person shooters in Call of Duty. I want to point out that video games are also a learning tool. That they teach reflexes and response time, team building, and again, the not all games are about the violence. I mean, it's the there's competition, and we are legends. You know, we and building on one another's strengths, and um, you know, competing your strengths against one another it's competitions are great. Um, they only make people, strive to do better. As an artist and a writer, I as soon as I create something, I might think it's cool, but I question if it's good enough, sort of thing. And that's just a creator's thing. Is like we strive to do better. As humanity, we should strive to do better. So and not all games are about the competition and the conflict. Now, as I stated, any good story or game or whatnot, there has to be a story arc. It's like you have struggle and perseverance. So um, the lone wolf. This idea of the villain could be the nothingness, could be chaos, could be just striving against hunger or limited resources. Could be, um, there's a deadline coming and you have to rise above this hurdle. Or we have to overcome those uh, things that may make us fall short. We uh, we have to strive to do better as humanity. Um, Usually outside of everything, more concerned with character development and exploration. Most of these character archetypes are based in the classic fairy tales. I'm kind of running out of material here. Um, through storytelling and scenery is how humanity moves forward. And learning to put aside your differences, it is the power of what makes us different drawn together that allows us to see from all sides. But we have to put aside those differences to move forward as humanity. We may be alone in the universe, or the universe could be sitting there waiting quietly, patiently for us to catch up. And putting aside our petty differences is how we can learn true communication. Because the message I bring with me is not the differences in our storytelling, but what we have in common that brings us together. Thank you. I hope you all have a great afternoon.
Okay.
So
Hello.
like the YouTube at Trade 251.
Okay, cool. Well, I have a few questions for you since you're here. We got a little bit of time.
Sure.
Okay. In regards to the characters that you like to paint or draw, what exactly draws you through those?
Usually, okay, so I like Samus because she is a female character, of strength. She's a space marine, and I'll try not to get too far off the topic, but to me, gaming is also about the bigger story. Like you have the Doom Slayer from Doom, and so he's a space marine. But that's a whole different side of things. That's a more visceral and angry sort of thing. Whereas Samus, she is out there, space exploration, trying to. The whole story here is they're protecting something, or saving our galaxy. You know, so the I like the spacesuits. One of the story I'm going with these is again with Mega Man and Zero is robotics. The idea of uh, man in armor and in a spacesuit, and I'm putting both of those in a celestial scene. So I like them for the costumes. I like them for the armor, uh, and I generally like them for the story and the game that they come from.
Okay. I have a question for you. I'm going to say I see it code on the screen. So, in terms of the enjoyment of the game, do you find the character development more important or the story development?
Uh, I believe the story generally develops with the character. It's often the choices you make change the outcome. If you're playing like a game like Fable, you could go either of several ways. But how or Skyrim, how you interact with other characters and whatnot. Um, Story development. I guess it really depends if the story comes to a point where it's fight or flight, then I'm all on the hero's side. You know what I mean? So I guess I find enjoyment in watching the character develop against the storyline.
Very cool.
Thank you. These are good questions.
Mhm. See, give me a second.
Sure.
I cannot show it, and all of a sudden, okay, so let me see if I can get your name back up there. So
I tried to
much
stick.
fun.
I tried to stick to my
There you
lesson plan. I tend to go in 1,000 directions all at once because um,
go.
being
Okay.
surrounded by all these games and seeing how they, connect. You see one game and you're like, oh, well, that game could be in that universe. That game could be in that universe. Well, those two universes work together. That sort of thing.
Is that how you develop your writing? Is that you talked about how you use time and you go and you take time for yourself to go writing somewhere? Is that how you begin your idea?
Usually, yes, ma'am. I, sometimes I'll have an idea itching at me, or even from dreams. The subconscious is a mystical thing. It can be speaking to you on so many levels. Um, Sometimes your daily interaction, and it can be overwhelming. Some person or thing can be itching at you, and it's like, oh, I wonder. I mean, I've seen that like twice today, or it's I don't know. Let me give you an example of so I went on the news to talk about the store one point in time, and I took the Keyblade with me. Just as like a cute thing, warrior thing, and it's like to show off all my video game treasures. Um, and Cinderella was there from the Once Upon a Time parties. Well, that was just a synchronicity to me. It just naturally happened, but she was there for a different thing where they do birthday parties and stuff. But in a Kingdom Hearts sort of way, I um I was like, oh, the princess is like, can I get a photo with you? And she saw the Keyblade and she kind of got it. So it was like a natural synchronicity. So how things come together definitely can be part of the story. And if they are flowing naturally, then it just makes sense. And if you kind of force it, then you're like, no, that idea is too much. That's contrived. I'm not going to write about that. So
Now, have you merged your art with your writing?
I haven't yet. So it's kind of like life and a lot. And I'm still again the warrior. I'm learning my feet. I used to be fearless, and through life and struggle and learning to be confident in my writing and artwork. I So I have a lot of my poetry books and a short novella I wrote many years ago, and I have the paintings that go alongside it. I'm probably going to publish it with prints of the paintings inside to kind
Mhm.
of give physical character to the. So for those I have, yes, um, and some of the celestial landscapes and whatnot that I've painted, I haven't quite. Uh, they're just. It's like looking through a window at one parcel of a bigger picture. And
Mhm.
so the the painting gives a physical representation, and then if you close your eyes, you can almost imagine the painting going and continuing. And some of my writing and the poetry and whatnot can be stream of consciousness like that, and it uh, so they go together. Not sure how they go together, but as long as they flow together naturally, then it's it's a great story.
Now, what is your focus at the moment? Is it on the writing or in the,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one?
what is your focus at the moment? Is it on the writing or the art?
As of right now, I've been more focusing on artwork. I've been getting back into my artwork and trying to have space for that. Um, when I said that I was going to Books a Million and working on my poetry books, um, that's trying to publish a work that I started that many years ago, and I have the handwritten ones put up, and so I'm trying to get it typed out and printed up so that so I can share it with others. Because up to this point, I've kept all my writing kind of to myself. Now there's notebooks stacked around, and it's like hidden treasures of kind of like in gaming. It's like, well, what's that over there? Well, and so I kind of want people to look, but I'm like, but don't judge me. Like how what does it mean to you? With all my writing, I'm like, what does it mean to you? Everyone has their own set of questions and circumstances, and their own filter, their own view of the world. So how you receive a message or how you see things could be different. The questions are there, but the answers are different for everyone.
We have another question. Um,
Sure.
okay. What is your favorite character archetype? Paragons, anti-heroes, fallen heroes, mentors, answers, etc.
It's such a deep one. Um, I I used to identify with the tragic heroes so much. I used to identify with that for such a long period of time, and uh, I found myself in a state of dwelling where I just I wouldn't start the journey for thinking about what may happen. So I had to draw myself out of that. I had to compartmentalize it and think of it as this is just a character role. Um, Anti-heroes. All right, so I used to always think Venom was awesome. I like the look. I think just like Empire and Star Wars. I think um, I think their style is cool. I think they're powerful. But we all know that the outcome is that they will cross that line to hurt others, um, and two, that over time it draws on, it will change you. The darkness will change you. So I thought Venom was really cool, but at some point you have to be like, whoa, that's a bad guy. Um, and as far as family goes, I was more nominated as a Captain America, and as that. guardian spirit protector role, and I saw that. I was like, that is the shield. That is righteous purpose. That is defender. Um, Favorite? I don't I don't often deal in extremes, so I don't really have a favorite. But these are all cool. Mentors are very important. Um, I think that's one that I left out of actually elaborating on. But the the wizard, he bestows the Triforce of Courage to Link. He thinks not in extremes, but in such grandiose way to ascend the ideas of each and every hero, and can direct and cast energies grander than just one person. Lancers are cool. That's our legends. That's our legends here. I don't really have a favorite. I guess it would depend on which game I was playing.
Okay. Very, very cool. Well, Scott, if you have, do you have any more questions or anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good. Thank you all for having me. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to more conventions, and this I just want to inspire you. I definitely have something to say. I want to inspire each and every one of you because the idea of the warrior here, the singlet, the lone wolf, do not underestimate the little guy because he will outsmart you. It Do not underestimate the power of an idea, because it can grow and flourish into the strongest tree. Um, do not let anyone tell you you can't do something. Now, I mean, understand there are rules and guidelines. Follow the direction. When confused and seeking direction, calm your mind. The universe is always speaking to you. Um, but realize each and every one of your own infinite potential, because within each of you is a warrior, a legend, a guardian spirit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Bye bye.